But kind of going off of this news related to the AMC community, there is more developments related to Aron and other members of the leadership board selling shares. And like many things in this world, the truth is somewhere in the middle. At one extreme, you're going to see people vehemently attacking them and saying, whoa, you got to get out. They're selling. Okay, no, that's a little bit of fun. But on the other hand, you have other people saying, literally, there's no problem at all. This is perfectly fine. And like, we shouldn't even be talking about it. Well, I think, like I said, the truth is somewhere in the middle. I think there's pros and cons. And now let's actually get into some facts about what's going on. So as of 3 days ago, December 7th, Aron sold 312,000 shares, and the price was just under $31. Couple things I want to say off of that. This is the SEC filing. This is fact. This is source. The sale reported was effective pursuant of a Rule 10b5-1 trading plan as in it's set up in advance. It wasn't like he was sitting there saying, this is it, I got to sell. It was set up by another party. Trading plan adopted by the reporting person more than 30 days prior to the transaction. So someone else set it up more than a month prior, and then they set up the date, the amount, and the sale went through. We know now for the past half year that on the earnings announcements calls, Aron has pointed out the fact that he is 67 and he has to consider proper estate planning. And I think that's reasonable. So I think the way some media is spinning this, and also I think I was looking on like Financial Times and they were just generically talking about how much CEOs get paid and they used his picture. So it's a little bit of media bashing in my personal like estimation of what's going on, a little bit of fear mongering. But at a certain point, I also don't fully like what's going on. I have no issue at all with him being 67 and saying that he needs to do proper estate planning. I truly have no problem with that. My issue is a little bit more, I guess, involved with semantics. So previously in the calls, they've said that someone such as him, Aron, should hold about 8 years' salary worth of stock. And at first, when you read it, amount of securities beneficially owned following the reported transaction. So following this transaction, he owned 96,000 shares. And that's obviously not going to be the same amount as 8 years worth of his current salary. And the way around this was number 3, does not include shares issuable upon future vesting or of equity grants, including 1.3 million shares issuable based upon continued service and another 1.6 million shares issuable upon attainment of performance goals at a target, which when combined with the ownership reported above would represent 3 million shares. So you could say, does he have 3 million shares in his account right now? Oh, sorry. I think my head is blocking it. But if you pull this up, if you look up this particular form, the final thing right over here in the right side that I think is just being cut off, it's 3 million. Yeah, so if you just add these two numbers together, 1.6 million and 1.3, they just total it up over here. So we know that the leadership team should be showing, I guess, their devotion to the company by owning equity. And in a certain way, I don't like that they're skirting around it by saying future vesting of equity grants. I don't like that. And honestly, I wouldn't be bringing it up at all to any of you right now if there weren't other things going on within the community that's basically apes fighting apes. I don't have the words to properly articulate how incredibly fucking stupid I think everyone is that's like actively prompting more social media drama. The fighting, the infighting, it's so silly. This is 100% what Trey has said months ago, and I believe in some of his recent videos, he like kind of re-upped on it of like, it's just This is childish. It's silly. If your goal is AMC, MOAS, and like the apes and what's particularly going on with AMC, the detrimental thing to it, as Trey has said, and I 100% agree with him, it's not going to be Wall Street. It's not going to be the CEO selling some of his shares. It's going to be these asshat clowns that say they're in the community, just fighting with each other, acting as if Twitter drama is the only important thing. I implore you, any drama, just avoid it. Do the classic Irish exit. If you see it going on, nothing. No likes, no retweets, no responses. Don't engage in those Reddit threads. Don't engage in those Twitter comments. Don't engage in those space calls. Don't engage in any of it. Pull the plug. Do not give it any oxygen. I have taken a conscious step over the past 2 weeks myself to remove myself from all of it. It drains your emotional energy, and it makes things like this, where one way it could be interpreted as like, okay, like I think the truth is in the middle. I don't think it's horrifically bad, but I don't think this is like amazing, like this sentiment of what's going on. Like I said, I don't like this, but the exponential growth of the negativity is perpetuated by these bullshit echo chambers of everyone fighting incessantly. No oxygen, no life. I'm telling you, I personally believe, I can't tell you what to do, but I personally believe pulling the ripcord, pulling the cord on it, just don't pay attention to it. It's so silly. It's so silly. Moving on, same thing. Sean Goodman, the CFO, same date. He sold 18,000 shares. And after that sale, he has zero. But okay, once again, how does that possibly make sense with the new rules? Well, it's the same thing. So just so you know, it's the 10b5-1. This was decided 30 days in advance, but it's the same thing. Future vesting of equity grants. So about 300,000, another 300,000, which puts his total that you can't see right over here in the bottom right at 589,000 shares. So they're saying, they're kind of skirting their own rules by saying, hey, like if we count our future vesting equity grants, like we're all good. But what they have currently on the books is not that. So I guess like they're, I don't know, doing it however they want. And like I said, this in itself, if this were the only problem going on, if we had to talk about this, and if we had to just talk about payment for order flow and rebates and the power concentration of the duopoly of market makers, if we had to talk about prime brokers, all of that stuff is manageable. But when that's 2% of the conversation and the other 98% of the conversation is bloated fucking social media egos that are just fighting and they don't realize how damaging they are to this entire thing, it's sickening. It's frustrating. Trey posted a video and you could like feel his like visceral anger, and that is 100% spot on. 100% spot on, because it's so childish and it's so easy to just stop. It's crazy. It's crazy.